Welcome to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres Postgame Show on the Padres Radio Network. Coming up, we'll deliver a full recap of today's game, including highlights from the biggest moments. Listen to Mike Shildt's postgame comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
A tough Sunday to wrap up the ceremonial first half for the Padres as they drop one to the Philadelphia Phillies by a final score of 2-1. Padres do win 2 out of 3 from the Phillies this weekend to wrap up the pre-All-Star break portion of the schedule, but they do drop this series finale as the Padres drop to 52-44 on the year. Phillies improve to 55-41. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. Welcome to our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Hey, player, the Jamul Casino Resort is your place with the Lux Hotel Tower opening soon, new dining, and a long list of amazing amenities. You'll have more ways to play and enjoy all the perks of your casino fun. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. This was yet again another really tight, really low-scoring game. And in the end, the difference today was the Phillies got a big hit when they needed it, and the Padres did not. Padres went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base, including leaving 2 on in the 8th inning, in the 9th inning. They had a golden opportunity in the bottom half of the 6th inning as well. An RBI double from JT Realmuto against David Morgan in the top of the 8th inning proved to be the difference. Nick Pivetta absolutely terrific in this game, but it was one swing from Realmuto that broke a 1-1 tie in the top of the 8th inning, and the Padres could not ultimately find a way to get the big hit to tie it, big hit to win it. And that was sort of the story here today. Another one-run game. We talked about it pregame, and we'll talk about it a little bit more coming up later. But the Padres just continue to play ultra close games. I mean, it just seems like each and every day they're playing a game decided by 1 run, by 2 runs, and the numbers back that up. We'll get into it and kind of put a bow on those numbers for the first half of the season. But that was the story here today. Padres pitched plenty well enough to win. They only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits to a really good Phillies lineup. In fact, I think you look at this 3-game series, the Padres pitching staff did a great job against this Philly lineup. But the Padres, again, you look at the numbers with runners in scoring position, 1 for 9. They left 10 on base. Again, they had opportunities in the 8th inning, in the 6th inning. They had Luis Ariz at the plate with 2 on. In the 9th inning, could not find a way to tie this game or even win it with a base hit in the bottom half of the 9th inning. And that was the story as the Padres drop this series finale, unable to sweep the Phillies, and they see a 3-game win streak come to an end. A lot to do on our post-game coverage. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt coming up in a little bit. We have all the radio highlights for you, recap this game from start to finish. Much, much more to do on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show. Again, the final score on this Sunday, Phillies 2 and the Padres 1. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Hey, my friends, it's Woodsy. You ever want to drink your shower water with Eco Water soap?
Our post-game coverage continues from Petco Park. Final score on this Sunday, the Phillies 2 and the Padres 1. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building as we wrap this one up. We'll go downstairs, hear from Mike Shildt coming up in just a little bit. But first, let's recap this one from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
We had a really, really good starting pitching matchup today. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres. Left-hander Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies. Nick Pivetta took the mound for the top of the first. He got the first 2 outs, but he then issued a walk. There was then a throwing error by Manny Machado, then an infield single. So all of a sudden, the Phillies had the bases loaded. 2 men away. It brought up Bryson Stott.
2 outs, and the 0-1 pitch grounded slowly to the right side. Backhanded by Arise, sets himself, feeds Pivetta covering. It goes in and out of his glove. Harper comes in to score, and the Phillies take a 1-0 lead on 3 straight ground balls.
2 errors in that inning. Pivetta got a strikeout to end the inning and limit the damage to a single run. The Padres then had a great scoring chance in the bottom of the first inning. They had a runner on second with 1 out and the bases loaded with 2 men away, but they did not score against Sanchez. It would stay 1-0 for a while thanks to some great work by both Pivetta and Sanchez. Each put together perfect innings in the second and third. Each dealt with a runner on second base in the fourth, but left the runner stranded there. Each dealt with a 2-out base runner in the fifth, but that was all the trouble for both starting pitchers. Pivetta then pitched a 1-2-3 top of the 6th inning to keep it a 1-0 deficit. Padres then had a serious rally against Sanchez in the bottom half of the inning. Manny Machado hit a leadoff single. Xander Bogaerts followed with another. A sacrifice bunt moved the runners to second and third. Phillies then brought the infield in. Jose Iglesias at the plate.
And Iglesias hits it sharply through up the middle. Got it underneath the Stott. Machado will come in to tie it. And Jose Iglesias makes it 1-1 here in the 6th.
And on that base hit for Iglesias, Xander Bogaerts was stopped at third base. Luis Campusano then dug in with runners at the corners and 1 out. And Campusano grounded into an inning-ending double play. Pivetta went 6 2/3 innings, allowed just 1 unearned run. Adrian Morejon got the final out of the 7th inning. Sanchez pitched a scoreless bottom half of the 7th inning. So we went top 8, still tied at 1. Morejon got the first out, but then gave up a double to Bryce Harper. Mike Shildt then went to righty David Morgan to face the right-handed hitting Nick Castellanos. Morgan struck him out for out number 2. However, JT Realmuto is next.
Pitch. Realmuto swings, sends it in the air to left center field. Long run. Jackson Merrill not going to get there. That'll bounce it up against the wall in left center. Harper comes in to score, and JT Realmuto gets the Padres again. A go-ahead RBI double. Phillies back ahead. It's 2-1.
A 2-1 Philly lead heading to the bottom half of the 8th inning. Manny Machado hit a 1-out single against Phillies reliever Orion Kerkering. He went to second on a wild pitch. Xander Bogaerts then walked, so the Padres had the tying run on second, the go-ahead run on first base, but a couple of flyouts from Jackson Merrill and Jose Iglesias ended the inning. Padres still trail just 2-1 going to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Former Padre left-hander Matt Strahm came on. Jake Cronenworth pinch hit for Campusano. He walked. Bryce Johnson laid down a sac bunt. That got Cronenworth the second. Elias Diaz then popped out to third baseman Edmundo Sosa for out number 2. Strahm then intentionally walked Fernando Tatis Jr. So the situation, Padres trailing by 1, 2-1, bottom half of the 9th inning, the tying run on second, the winning run at first base. It was all left up to Luis Arise.
1-2. Here it comes. And Arise swings, hits it in the air to left center field. Marsh and Rojas coming together. Marsh will get there to make the catch and end the game. Matt Strahm comes on to close it out and earn the save as the Padres play yet another 1-run game, but they end up on the wrong side of this one. Phillies avoid the sweep with a 2-1 victory, and the Padres wrap up their longest homestand of the season, 6-4, as they head into the All-Star break, 52-44.
The Padres' 34th game this season in their first 96 decided by 1 run. It was their 54th game this season decided by 2 runs or less. Think about that. Out of 96 games, they have played so many close games, and today was absolutely no different. Final score, Phillies 2 and the Padres 1. Final totals for the Phils, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. For the Padres, 1 run, 7 hits, and 2 errors. The Padres dropped to 52 and 44. Like Jesse said, that's how they head into the All-Star break, and the Phillies improve to 55 and 41. When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Again, the Padres fall 2-1 on this Sunday. They do win the series, though, against the Phillies as they take 2 out of 3, and now they head into the break. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
You're listening to the Jamul Casino Resort.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues on the Padres Radio Network on this Sunday as the Padres fall 2-1 to the Philadelphia Phillies. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as the Padres wrap up what becomes a 6-4 10-game homestand, their longest homestand of the season. And right out of the All-Star break, the Padres will embark on a 10-game road trip, 3 games in Washington, D.C., 3 games in Miami, 4 games in St. Louis. The next time the Padres are home, that is 2 weeks from tomorrow when they begin a 6-game homestand against the Mets, and then the Cardinals come to town. So just 3 more home games remaining in the month of July. So it's going to be a while till we see the Padres back here in downtown San Diego. However, I do want to take a moment here just to shout out the fans. I mean, another tremendous crowd today here at Petco Park. The 43rd sellout of the season, 43,398 in the building, 43 sellouts, and more than 2 million fans before the All-Star break. Just remarkable. The fans continue to bring it. each and every day, and just a great job by the fans in the first half of the season. And we'll see you here 2 weeks from tomorrow when the Padres play the New York Mets. So All-Star break now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Off days, of course, we'll enjoy all the festivities in Atlanta for the All-Star game. Certainly plenty to watch from a Padres standpoint with Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, and Adrian Morejon all going to the All-Star game. But here today, Padres couldn't enter the break on a high note. They fall 2-1. Again, Nick Pivetta really good in this game. 6 2/3 innings, 1 unearned run given up. It came all the way back in the top of the first when there were 2 errors behind him. Gave up just 3 hits, walked 2, struck out 8. And the offense today had major opportunities, 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base. The Padres left on 2 in the 9th inning, 2 in the 8th inning. They left, I should say they had runners on 1st and 3rd with 1 out in the bottom half of the 6th inning in a tie game. Luis Campusano grounds into an inning-ending double play. They had a runner in scoring position in the 4th inning and could not find a way to get runs in any of those scenarios. Padres only got 1 run. It came on an RBI single from Jose Iglesias in the 6th inning to tie the game at 1. JT Realmuto hits the RBI double, go-ahead RBI double in the 8th inning to give the Phillies a 2-1 lead, and that was that here today. One thing I am curious about from Mike Shildt, we'll see if anybody asks about it, is it was interesting. In the top of the 8th inning, Mike elected to go to David Morgan to face Castellanos and Realmuto. He struck out Castellanos for out number 2, gave up the go-ahead double to Realmuto. And the only reason I bring it up, Morgan's been good, but that would typically be a spot where you'd see Jason Adam. And I'm wondering if because of the heavy workload as of late and really all season long, it certainly seemed like they were trying to stay away from Adam because that would typically be an Adam spot right there. So just, keep that in mind as we hear from Mike Shildt. And the Padres lose 2-1 in this series finale. Again, they win the series against a really good Phillies team. They go 6-4 on this homestand, and they finish the first half 52-44. Let's go downstairs and hear some post-game reaction.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Like, what'd you make of the way that you got finished the first this homestand this series?
Yeah, I mean, today we'd like to have gotten it, brought it home and felt really good about it, but I still feel really good. Good homestand, 6-4. If you go 6-4 over the course of every 10 games, you're going to win 96 games. So, really, really, really good baseball. A lot of good things took place. The offense really, including the base run, the offensive machines really coming into gear. Ran into a tough guy tonight, but created some opportunities for ourselves. Just couldn't get the proverbial big hit. But yeah, it was good baseball throughout the whole course of the homestand, and it's good momentum going into the break, and looking forward to the break after, getting ready to start after the break.
Well, noting your defense has been so good, your pitching and defense has been your calling card, and today defense cost you a little bit there. What was your take on the first inning?
Gosh, man, humans showed up. We've been we've been first in fielding percentage since the 1st of June. Now we're in the middle of July. We've made 4 infield errors in 6 weeks. Louis is in the top 10. He's actually 8th in almost any defensive metric in all of Major League Baseball for first baseman in that time frame. Bogey's 9th. So we're playing excellent defense and didn't make a couple plays. They happen. But I'm really pleased with our defense in total. Our we don't beat ourselves, and it's been very, very, very good.
Nick today was, again, kind of just who he's been in the first half. What do you make of how important he's been for you guys, given kind of some of the questions you had in the rotation with you and Michael? And I know you're expecting maybe a fuller rotation in the second half, but how big was it for him to stabilize it?
Huge. It really was. You need that guys to be those pillars, anchors, aces, whatever superlative you want to use that, talks about, being a cornerstone of a starting rotation. The more you have of them, the better you are, the better. Our bullpen's been excellent, but the less you have to rely on them, and you can keep those guys fresh. And, Nick's been able to grab the baseball and, clearly do his part to not only keep us in games, but to win games. And he's been outstanding. And I just went by him and told him, we all know, rightfully we got 5 guys ahead of the All-Star game, and, he should be on that plane. But he's an All-Star for us, and he's a big part of the reason we've had a successful, first half into the All-Star break.
Can you help us understand what the catchers bring to the team defensively? It's not so easy for outsiders to evaluate catching defense. It is easy for us to evaluate offensive stats, but defense can be pretty tough with a catcher.
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question. The offense shows up. It's on the scoreboard. It's something that gets magnified, understandably, but the catcher's going to get 3 or 4 at bats. As an example today, we faced 38 batters for the Phillies. The catcher had a say in every single one of them. And, I can confidently tell you that Maldi and Diaz have done a really good job. It's a hard job also, but shepherding, to AJ's question about, the starting rotation, Nick's done a great job, but we have had a lot of starts from guys that have done a really good job in Bergert and Kolick and Vasquez. And those guys have been great, but they've also, been able to get help with some veteran catchers to get them through it. And I get a privilege to see it every night, and the nuances of it and the preparation to it, the strategy going into a game, the awareness to make adjustments during the game, the ability to give guys confidence, ability to make a trip and say the right things. Those catchers done a great job partnering with our pitching group. Ruben and Peter Somerville does our game planning, and Fritzy, our bullpen coach, along with our pitchers. They're a big reason why we sit there and we have one of the best staffs with, a lot of new guys that have made their debuts this year or, young to this league, including some of the bullpen guys. Morgan was good today. Muto could have swung on him, but those catchers have been pretty pivotal in us having one of the better ERAs that, stand against about anybody in the league. And I know ERA is not the only metric, but, whether it's holds or saves and we also have 3 all-stars in the bullpen that have earned their way. But it's a team award. Those guys get the bulk of the credit. Clearly, that's their talent, their preparation, their ability. But the catchers, they do their part. Unsung heroes.
You had 2 bunts today from two guys who, left on left. Obviously, it's a tough matchup. Were those called? Were those given to them as an option in that spot, or were those just kind of those guys doing?
Yeah, those guys have options. I mean, the one thing that I'm confident works at its best when, and I say this internally a fair amount, but I can say it externally as well. Championship players think and do for themselves. The one thing I don't have is a feel for an at bat. And, if a guy feels like, this is the best thing, as Toddy always says, and it's just a magical phrase, do what the game calls for. And if the game calls for that moment of how you feel against that particular guy, a lot of times, it's especially with Louis and Jackson left on left, game called for getting a bunt down. It actually led to our only run. So, and the freedom for them to do it similar to a hit and run, I can sit there and strategize, which I do. I do put on bunts and I do, put on hit and runs, and I do think for myself occasionally, but also give the freedom for the guys to go play the game, what they see.
And you kind of touched on it earlier, but what are your thoughts just overall on this first half of the season, and what do you want to see moving forward in the second half?
More of the same with this homestand. We really, I've alluded to the pitching. We've really done a nice job with our pitching. The catching, as we talked about, has been a part of that. It's a really synced up unit. The bullpen, the starters, the catchers, the pitching group as a whole with the staff. So that's a real strength of the club. We expect that only to continue. To AJ's point, Darvish is trending back, and Michael's chomping at the bit, literally. So, we feel good about that. Alluded to the defense. Listen, we play really good defense. We also play, smart defense. We throw the right base. We, hit the cutoff man. We do a lot of things really well. We catch the baseball, we make the outs, super high percentage of the time. Like I said, a 994 leading the league in fielding percentage, which still matters to me at least in the last, since June 1st. So continue to catch the ball, continue to play that good team defense. We've done a nice job of holding runners with our pitchers. We give up some bags, some guys earn them. But we don't give away a whole lot there. We hold runners pretty well. Our catchers throw, so the league has to honor it. They got to earn it if they're going to get a bag. So we're one of the better teams and not giving anything free on the bases in that regard. So that's a win. And then the base running is, it goes hand in hand with the offense. You got to be able to create some opportunities. The buntings come into play, which I'm excited about. I mean, the league average going into this series was 513 for bunting for a hit. The league bunts for a hit at 513 clip, up from 499 last year in total in 2024. So we're using all facets of the game is my point. The base running again has been on display. The first and thirds have been outstanding. We're in the top 5 in that category. One of the top 5 teams, and second to homes. First to top 10 and first to home on doubles. We're second in the league at reading balls in the dirt. So we do a lot of really good things and win on the margins is what this is all about. And then the last one that I'm really optimistic about, we've been able to put ourselves in a good position relative to, and again, just the facts. We've had, Jackson missed a month, missed another week. Crony missed a month. You mentioned the starting pitching. We've really had some, like most teams. I mean, I know I'm just stating fact. I mean, but it also indicates that we do find solutions, and that's what winners do. And then the offense, the last week has really created their identity, reestablished it rather, because we have an identity, and the bats have been fantastic. We've been very stubborn in the zone. The walks have gone up. The contact's gone up. We also have hit a lot of balls at people that, I can't explain why that happens occasionally. You go through ruts where you're just barreling balls at people. But the at-bat quality is really high. So you put all together, and it speaks to a positive first half and a very favorable and exciting second half.
Mike, if I could ask a little, when I used to cover, they didn't have these technologies that simulated what a pitcher can throw so well. I don't know what it's like in the batting cage. I asked because the preparation today for that guy's changeup, which is elite, I don't know what guys were hitting 135 this year. How do you guys go about preparing for that thing, particularly Campusano, who hasn't been facing anything like that in AAA, I bet?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the one thing, just philosophical baseball question is we do have what's called a traject machine that we can simulate that, and guys do use it. I have a personal opinion that the changeup's the best pitch in baseball because the only pitch that you really can't replicate. You can replicate spin, you can replicate a fastball, you can replicate movement on a slider or sinker and on all those things. You can't replicate a changeup off a machine or an arm. And this guy's got one of those changeup that literally could be like, and I think we do in some cases, I'm throwing a changeup. It's like the Rivera cutter. Certain guys have these 80 pitches that, can basically just outlier pitches. And, that being said, you got to continue to figure out a way to have that even better approach and figure out a way to, get it done. But it's not an easy contest. Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, it's the big league. So, I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, it's a tough draw, but, there's tough draws in this league. So I'm not sure how to answer that one. Thank you. Enjoy your break. Yep.
All right, that was Padres manager Mike Shildt following this 2-1 loss for the Padres against the Philadelphia Phillies to wrap up the first half of this 2025 season. And now we head into the All-Star break. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll tell you about some of the good defense the Padres played. Obviously not a great first inning defensively, but there was a terrific play late in this game that we'll hear. We'll also tell you about our relief pitcher of the game. Full look at the out-of-town scoreboard and put a bow on this first half of the season. Again, the final on this Sunday, Phillies 2 and the Padres 1. Our post-game coverage continues after this from Petco Park.
James, you wear a lot of hats.
Our Jamul Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park as we wrap up this 2-1 loss for the Padres against the Philadelphia Phillies. Padres go 6-4 on this homestand against the Rangers, D-backs, and Phillies. They do take 2 out of 3 from Philadelphia. Padres end the ceremonial first half with a record of 52-44. We'll take a look at where the Padres now sit heading into the All-Star break as far as the wild card standings, the divisional standings. We'll take a look at that when we get to our out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network is presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, no-cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, presented by David P. Shapiro Criminal Defense Attorneys. When your freedom and future are on the line, you need the best arm in the pen. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com.
Well, for as much as I would love to give relief pitcher of the game to one of the Padre relievers, a Padres bullpen that has been so good as of late, and today was not terrible. I mean, they gave up 1 run combined, and that's going to happen. Offense had to find a big hit. They could not do it today. So we're going to have to go on the Phillies side of things today. I'll give it to Matt Strom, the former Padre, who I believe has been on this station a time or two before on Ben and Woods. Matt Strom dealt with trouble in that 9th inning. Certainly had the tying run on second, winning run on first base, but Strom found a way through it for the Phillies, picked up his 6th save of the season, got Luis Ariz to fly out to left to end the game. So for that reason, we'll give our relief pitcher of the game to Phillies left-hander Matt Strom. Well, the defense early in this game for the Padres, not great. They committed 2 errors on the infield in the bottom half of the first inning, a throwing error by Manny, a throwing error by Luis Ariz that allowed the Phillies to take a 1-0 lead against Nick Pivetta in the top of the first. However, Manny Machado made an outstanding play in the top of the 9th inning to help keep this game at a 1-run deficit. Let's hear it.
Which defensive play had the biggest impact on today's game?
He is at the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch.
This is the catch of the game.
Gonna hang a star for Jackson Merrill.
Reeled in by Anthony's Fish Grotto La Mesa, celebrating 80 years of seafood excellence.
In the air up the left field side. Machado and Johnson both coming over. Foul territory. Manny slides. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. What a play by Manny Machado. Gonna hang a star for out number 2 here in the top of the 9th inning as Machado shifted up the middle against the left-handed hitter, went all the way to the side wall in foul ground to make a sliding catch.
Really nicely described by Jesse Agler. What a play by Manny. He had to go a long way. Again, he was shifted all the way over and had to run 106 feet to make that catch up against the sidewall, sliding into that sidewall, and got Brandon Marsh on a pop out in foul ground. About as good of a catch in foul ground by a third baseman that you're going to see. I mean, really, really terrific play, worth seeing on social media or the TV replay. Great play by Manny Machado, and that was today's catch of the game. No doubt. What a play by Manny. Again, he ran 106 feet to go get that thing and did it beautifully. A beautiful slide into the sidewall as well for the National League's All-Star starting third baseman Manny Machado. We'll see him in Atlanta on Tuesday at the 2025 All-Star Game. When we come back, we'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll also tell you what's coming up for the Padres out of the All-Star break. Again, the final score on this Sunday, Phillies 2 and the Padres 1. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Stay tuned to the Jamul
Welcome back to the Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. The Phillies win it 2-1 against the Padres on this Sunday. Padres see their 3-game winning streak come to an end. Padres enter the All-Star break at 52-44. We told you earlier today that the Major League Baseball draft here in 2025 was going on later in the day. The first round continuing, the first overall pick by the Washington Nationals was Eli Willits, a shortstop at a high school in Oklahoma. And I could go through pick by pick, but I'm not going to do that right now. What I will tell you is that they are up to pick number 19. The Baltimore Orioles are currently on the clock, and the Padres are slated to pick 25th. So they are a handful of picks away now for making their first round selection. So we'll see who the Padres add to their minor league system. Who's coming? When they make that 25th overall pick, should happen, I would imagine, within the next, 15, 20 minutes or so. I'm not sure how exactly long each pick takes, but they're moving along pretty well right now. Again, they're up to pick 19. So stay tuned. We'll see who the Padres pick with that 25th overall selection. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the major leagues on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
Most of the games around baseball are final. We have one game going on right now. Braves and the Cardinals, they were in a rain delay for a long time. Braves leading the Cardinals 3-1 in St. Louis right now in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Everything else has gone final. Cubs beat the Yankees 4-1 in New York. The Marlins beat up on the Orioles 11-1 in Baltimore. Red Sox won a 10th in a row, their longest winning streak since 2018. They beat the Rays today 4-1 at Fenway. Reds beat the Rockies 4-2 in Cincinnati. Mariners beat the Tigers 8-4 in Detroit. Guardians beat the White Sox 6-5 in Chicago. In Sin. Royals beat the Mets on a Nick Lofton walk-off single in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Kansas City wins it 3-2. Pirates beat the Twins 2-1 in Minnesota. Rangers beat the Astros 5-1 in Houston. The Brewers beat the Nationals 8-1 in Milwaukee. Dodgers beat the Giants in 11, 5-2. A's beat the Blue Jays 6-3 in Sacramento. Diamondbacks beat the Angels 5-1 in Anaheim. And the Phillies beat the Padres, that score 2-1 here in San Diego. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday, the final day of the ceremonial first half. So where do the Padres stand heading into the All-Star break? Well, it looks like this in the wild card race right now. The Padres will enter the break sitting in the third and final wild card spot. They're a half game up on the San Francisco Giants. Now, the Cardinals, who are still playing, are currently 2 games back. But if the Cardinals were to win, they would move to a game and a half behind the Padres for that final spot. If the Cardinals lose, then they would be 2.5 back of the Padres. Reds 2.5 back. Diamondbacks 5.5 back. Padres right now 2.5 games behind the Mets, who sit in the second wild card spot, and the Brewers are 4 games ahead of the Padres in the first wild card spot. So if the season ended today, Padres would hold that final wild card position. As far as the National League West, Padres will enter the break 5.5 games back of the LA Dodgers, who sit in first place. Final score here today, Phillies 2, Padres 1. Let's hear our play of the game.
The line between winning and losing can be razor thin. Which play was the difference between victory and defeat? This is today's play of the game, presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
Pitch, Realmuto swings, sends it in the air to left center field. Long run, Jackson Merrill not going to get there. That'll bounce it up against the wall in left center. Harper comes in to score, and JT Realmuto gets the Padres again. A go-ahead RBI double. Phillies back ahead. It's 2-1.
Well, not what you wanted to be play of the game, but had to be the play of the game today. JT Realmuto, an RBI double to put the Phillies ahead 2-1 in the top of the 8th inning against David Morgan. and the Phillies go on to win by that final score. So had to be our play of the game today. That RBI double for JT Realmuto ended up being the game winner. Again, the Padres had a ton of opportunities. They went 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base. They had 2 on in the 8th inning, couldn't score. 2 on in the 9th inning, couldn't score. So Padres had their opportunities, but the Realmuto double ends up being the biggest swing in this game. So what's coming up for the Padres after the All-Star break? And an All-Star game in Atlanta on Tuesday. That will be very fun to watch from a Padres standpoint. Padres have 5 players representing San Diego at the All-Star game. Manny Machado, the starting third baseman for the National League, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jason Adam, Robert Suarez, Adrian Morejon. First time that any team has ever had 3 relievers going to the same All-Star game. So that'll be fun to watch all those guys participate, hopefully, in the All-Star game, and certainly looking forward to it. Looking forward to the Home Run Derby tomorrow, to the game on Tuesday, and to be honest with you, a few days off. And we get things rolling again with the ceremonial second half of the season as the Padres begin a 10-game road trip on Friday. First pitch on Friday, game 1 of a 3-game series in Washington at 3:45 p.m. Pacific time. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show will begin at 2:45 on Friday. So no Padres coverage here on the Padres Radio Network, obviously Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But again, we will be back with you at 2:45 p.m. on Friday as the Padres begin that series against Washington, and they start a 10-game road trip. As always, if you missed any portion of our post-game coverage, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast with Sam Levitt, available on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. You can also go back on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube page and watch any portion of our post-game coverage there as well. Taking a look at the final totals here today. For the Phillies, 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They left on 8. For the Padres, 1 run, 7 hits, 2 errors. They left on 10. Winning pitcher today, Christopher Sanchez, who improves to 8-2. Adrian Morejon takes the loss. He's now 7-4, and the save goes to Matt Strahm, his 6th of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 39 minutes. And the crowd here at Petco Park, the 43rd sellout of the season here in downtown San Diego. Amazing. 43 sellouts before the All-Star break. The crowd here today, 43,398. Once again, first pitch on Friday at 3:45 p.m. Pacific time in Washington, D.C. We'll be with you beginning at 2:45 with our pregame coverage. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Bobby Sharton, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score here today, the Philadelphia Phillies 2 and the San Diego Padres 1. We will talk to you on Friday right here on the Padres Radio Network. Enjoy the All-Star break.
Thanks for joining us for the Jamul